Hi, everybody. I'm Darius Kazemi. I'm an independent artist and researcher based in Portland, Oregon, and I do a lot of creative work with code, including natural language processing and machine intelligence. I run a fun event once a year called National Novel Generation Month, where I challenge people to write code that writes a novel. And people sometimes ask me why I don't do more work with deep learning in my art, and I just wanted to briefly talk about why I don't. I hear a lot of talk these days about the AI revolution, giddy exclamations that the AI winter is over, and humanity is on a precipice of progress. And a big part of that narrative is that the tech is all open source. In theory, anyone who wants to can do AI research. Private citizens and small businesses, we can roll up our sleeves, use the open source libraries, and do it ourselves. The problem is this is a fantasy. From my work with deep learning systems that I have done, one of the most important things that you need to do is train the models that inform the AI. A modern AI needs data to be able to solve problems, and the data you give it is what shapes its inherent biases. As a private citizen, if I want to make deep dream images with creepy dog faces, then I can do that. I can download a model that helps me, that's been trained on dog images, and write some code and generate stuff like this. But I'm completely reliant on off-the-shelf models that are sort of generously handed to me by universities and corporations. If you want to build AI that solves new problems or solves existing problems in new ways, you're going to need to train algorithms on new data sets. And the problem here is that training is really expensive and prohibitively so for an individual. I could invest, say, $2,000 in a supercomputing GPU for my high-end desktop machine that I do all my work on at home, and it could take up to 20 hours to train an AI model on a few million images. The problem gets more dire when we look at the current solutions for what's available to independent researchers and private citizens. There's a vast trade-off of time for money. What I've got here on the screen is sort of a typical example scenario that I find myself in from time to time. Say I want to train my own neural network model. I might want to try doing this 100 times in 100 different ways, right? I need to innovate to try different things and tune the model. On a powerful home computer, one training can take 12 hours, for example. And realistically, it means I'm training it once a day. If I want to do this 100 times, it's going to take me 100 days at zero cost, zero marginal cost. Requires a pretty significant upfront cost. Or I could rent a 4 GPU instance on Amazon, which might do the training in 2 hours. This might give me a chance to tweak and test the model and play around with that 3 times a day. So that means it would take me a month, and it would end up costing me about $500 a month, which coincidentally is my grocery bill. With barriers like these in place, realistically speaking, the only people who get to think about and experiment with AI are corporations, governments, and for-profit educational institutions and public educational institutions as well. Individuals don't get to train our own models. Instead, we download pre-trained data that has been made available to the public. Unfortunately, these pre-trained models are going to have biases built into them, whatever biases the corporations that build them weren't necessarily thinking about. And these biases can get easily replicated by individual implementations based on these models. As it currently stands, if I want to create my own trained model, I'm going to have to expend significant resources. If I want to explore the concept of creating models that don't have certain biases, or that have certain biases that are counter to institutions of power that I want to critique, I simply can't. At today's workshop, I'd like to spend some time thinking about ways to solve this problem. How can we structure AI policy to allow people without institutional power to have their voices heard in this AI revolution? And that's what I'd like us to talk about today, perhaps. Thank you very much for listening to me and for having me.
Thank you so much, Darius.